Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to paint a tear and we're starting right now. Alright, so I got my blank here. It's a blank from Lure Blanks and I already put some glitter on there. This is the Bloody Mary large glitter from Lure Blanks as well. And first we're gonna mask off our wound. So we take a little piece of masking tape here, preferably the widest size you can get. Just makes things a lot easier. Gonna measure about the length we want, about something like that. Now we're gonna rip this so we get a random shape. So now on to the next step. So before I do anything else, we're gonna do a roach pattern. So I got a big black in my chamber now and we're gonna paint the entire lure black. Right, so now I got some opaque white in my chamber and we're already gonna do the belly white, a little bit of the sides. Alright, so I already put it on my stencil on my lure. This is a regular bat sponge stencil. It's not really hard to come by. And I lined up the paints I'm gonna use. I'm gonna start off with the darker and then I'm gonna work my way down with a lighter, and then I'm gonna put some random blue shine on the scales here and there. So first off, I'm gonna start with this metallic blue silver. It's a little darker silver bluish metallic paint from Createx. It's a great paint for scales. And we're just gonna do the entire top of the roach. And now I got pearl white in my chamber. And this is for the lighter underside. And now I got wicked metallic white cores in my chamber. And this is just to make those lighter parts a little bit lighter, and we're gonna do the gill plates with that as well, and the belly. Right, so we got that done. And now we're gonna take our moss green and we're gonna shoot our moss green only from the back to the front to fill in those gaps on the front of every scale. And now I'm just gonna add some detailed black magenta. I'm not gonna clean out my airbrush. And I'm gonna darken. Same technique, I'm gonna darken only those scales on the top. Alright, now it's time to take our stencil off. First of all, I got some opaque black in my chamber again, and I'm gonna come back over the gill plates and everything to get rid of all the overspray of the scaling that's on the gill plates and on the back of the head. Right, now I'm gonna come back with my metallic white cores. I'm gonna do the entire head and also a little bit of the lower part of the body, just to hide the fade out those scales. Alright, so I got some black magenta in my chamber again, and that is, I'm gonna bring back a little bit of the texture of the gill plates first, and then we're gonna give it some color. So first I'm gonna bring back those shadows. Right, so now I got some pearl white in my chamber again. I'm gonna lighten up some areas on the underside. Alright, now I got moss green in my chamber again. Gonna darken the head first. make some random blotchiness in there too. I always like to do a little bit irregular stuff. Now we're gonna darken it around the eyes as well. And just a little behind the eye on the gill. And now I got detail sepia in my chamber, and I'm gonna darken quite randomly on the top of the head. Here comes the fun part. Now I'm gonna use this artist sponge, and I'm gonna dip some random spots of gold on there, and I'm gonna use Vallejo polished gold for that. Alright, so now for the fish wound itself, which this video is all about. We're gonna lighten up the upper part of the wound first, because the light is gonna hit that, so it's gonna be lighter. And then we're gonna add some shadow on the underside of the wound. So I got Wicked White in my chamber now, reduced with about 70% of reducer, so it's very reduced, so it becomes a little bit more transparent. And I'm gonna use my Iwata CMC for this. Test spray first, just onto the piece of tape. Right, so we got our white done, and now we're gonna create a shadow underneath that wound. So I got a little piece of tape here, and I'm gonna use that as a stencil to create a sharp edge with that white we sprayed underneath the wound. I'll show you what I mean. Now we created that shadow, we're gonna take off our tape. And now we're gonna freehand just a little bit of shadow around the upper edge. Just a little bit. I think I'm gonna need darker paint. Alright, and next up is some Candy Duo Blood Red. And this is to darken that inside of the wound a little bit. And maybe the white edge that we created. I'm also gonna darken that with a little bit of red maybe. I'm gonna test it out first. And that's how we create a nice dark red wound with a fleshy outside, a little bit of shadow in there, gives it a little bit of depth and realism. That is looking pretty good. And you can also make, if you want, some blood dripping out by just building up too much paint and blowing it away, like so. Alright, let's put the eyes in. And then the lure is ready for clear coat. So there we go guys, ready for clear coat. This is gonna look amazing. Alright guys, so the first clear coat is on the lure and now I'm going to paint the fin. And the very reason that I'm putting my fin after one clear coat is because we have Candy 2O here, and if we would put any other paint on there, that's gonna bleed through that paint. So now that Candy 2O is sealed off entirely, so now we can just easily paint our fin on there. I got my stencil here from Lure Blanks, it's a little fin stencil. And now I'm gonna take Wicked Red. This is the normal Wicked. This is quite transparent paint because we want the fin to be transparent. And like so, not too much, we just gently spray that red on there. Alright, and now I got Candy 2O Dirtec Brown in my chamber. Now I'm gonna darken that edge of that fin a little bit first. Now I'm gonna draw some lines that will be my fin beams. There we go guys, a transparent fin that still shows everything that's underneath. And now to give the scales a little bit more detail, I'm gonna take some Wicked Black. I'm gonna reduce that a little. So not like as you would do in an airbrush. As you can see, it's quite runny. That's what we want. Now we take a paintbrush and we're gonna paint some of these scales. The beginning of these scales we're gonna paint a little bit black. So guys, the lure is finished, and as you can see, it turned out really cool. From a tiny distance it looks super realistic and I really love the outcome. But if you look from close by there, you can see that I went too heavy with the black, and that is because the candy and the black, when you combine candy with black, candy darkens the black more. And I forgot that, so I should have used less black, and then when going over it with the candy it wouldn't be that hard or as dark as it is now. So I need to be a little bit more careful using black shading and candies at the same spot, because the candy will make the black darker. But other than that, this lure looks really super realistic. I really love the outcome. The scaling also is very nice. Next time I will thin down that gold a little bit more, so it is not as present as it is now. I find it too much present right now. So if we would thin that down a little bit more, it will be a more of a subtle effect, like when you would airbrush it on. And the black lining that we did also with the paintbrush, I'm gonna do those next time with an airbrush and see if they're more subtle, because also those are a little too heavy, I find. So those are two notes that I'm taking for myself. Other than that, this is a fantastic lure. If I would do it again, it would even turn out better, I think, by diluting all these details and using less black. Other than that, it's a really cool lure and it's very unique. So guys, as always, I will leave a link in the description below with the materials that I used. If you like my video, make sure you click like and subscribe for more videos. And of course, if you have any questions regarding this or any other lure painting subject, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.